Um, Hello, everyone. We're just going to give it maybe 30 more seconds and start promptly. Just let a few more people join, hopefully. So welcome. We're so happy you're here. Those of you, while we wait, who have volunteered to facilitate the breakouts, we will put you in an appropriate breakout group. We're just trying to see how many people are joining so we can finalize how many breakout groups we have. So stay tuned. Okay, let's get started. Welcome, everyone. I am Marsha Oshima, Vice President for Professional Development, and Michelle Chalu and I are going to hopefully enlighten you a little bit today. For those of you who are thinking about, definitely planning to write a proposal for an education or conference chat, or maybe a proposal for another conference, CIS or NACAC. Hopefully the information today could be helpful for that as well. So just a quick summary on screen of what we'll be doing. We're going to spend the first part taking you from initial idea through actually completing the proposal form. And then we want to give some time to have everyone split up into small groups so you can brainstorm, maybe ask some questions. We'll have people in each breakout who are experienced proposal writers, or some of our past presidents and others who have actually planned the annual conference or other conferences. So to give you an opportunity to talk, brainstorm, share ideas, and then we'll reconvene for some final thoughts and some final reminders. So first I'm going to let Michelle talk for a moment about the difference between education sessions and chats, just so everyone's clear. Michelle?
Hi, good evening, or good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michelle Chalu, and I'm President-elect for International ACAC. Very happy to be here. Just want to let Marsha know that webinars, we can't do breakout sessions, so maybe we'll just do a Q&A afterwards, and then we have our facilitators kind of speak up and answer questions if that's a better option. So just want to let everyone know the difference between education sessions and chats. So for this upcoming conference, there will be 5 education block. Now, each block, there'll be a choice of about 7 to 8, maybe 9 sessions to choose from. And each session, education sessions, is about 60 minutes long. So what we're looking for is about a 40 minutes kind of information or updates, things that you want to share with our membership, and then 20 minutes of Q&A, or if you prefer kind of the whole 60 minutes being interactive, that's okay as well. It's really up to you, and we want something for everyone really in this session. So if you're University College side and you're looking to build a class, we're kind of building a conference experience for all of our members that are joining us at the conference at FIU this summer. And of course, if you want to think about the type of members that we have members who are kind of beginner, novice in this field. We also have, of course, intermediate, and of course, advanced members. So thinking about those members that might be that you might be able to share something or share within those group. Of course, we are international, so we have different regions, and there's obviously different updates and different things that's happening around the world. So that is something we would like to see as well in this conference. And there's any updates, emerging trends that you're seeing. Oh, there is a spelling error in our field. Please do that, think about that as well. So in any aspects, we do have samples of previous sessions that you can look at on our website, and we have some links in this webinar as well. And then the chats part is actually created about a few years ago, and I would summarize it as a mini TED Talk, kind of a very personalized experience that you may want to share with our members. It's not a recorded session. So sorry, the education session, we will try to endeavor to record the session. So we have it on our website to archive later, but recording as not a live recording face-to-face, but maybe a voice recording with the PowerPoint presentation that you're doing. But the chat section are not recorded, and the chats are kind of done during lunchtime, and they're short. They're 11 minutes long. They're kind of an experience you may want to share with our membership, and it's a nice time when our members are having lunch during that 1 hour lunch time frame, and we will have the chats or the mini TED Talks within the area when members are having lunch. So it's a fun way to kind of engage our members in a different way. So if that's something that you would like to do, we will encourage you to also put a proposal for chats, and it really depends on how many chats proposal we get. And of course, we will try to have different venues for the chat. There will be different places for members to have lunch during that time frame. Okay, next slide, please.
Okay, so I'm going to jump back in, and Michelle will be back in a minute. So let's go to the beginning. So maybe you would like to do a session or a chat, but you don't exactly know what you're going to talk about yet. Maybe you have a very clear idea, the start of an idea. So just some basic things to keep in mind, especially if this is your first time. Should what you talk about be a very basic 101 type of talk, nuts and bolts? Should it be next level? We need it all. So even if it is a very basic idea, writing letters of recommendation or references, you can always think of a new way to approach it or a next level way to approach it. Just remember that the audience will have a mix of people in all regards, at different points in their career, different institutions, different parts of the world. So you want to make your topic relevant, interesting. It doesn't have to be for everyone, but you do want to make it to have appeal to more than one specific group. And do you need to be an expert? It depends. My personal opinion is, particularly for the education sessions, maybe you are an expert in something. Maybe you've initiated something fantastic, you want to share it. But maybe you're not an expert, and that's why you want to organize an education session so that you can pull experts together and not only learn yourself, but help others learn. So you can decide the role you want to take in an education session. Maybe you just want to facilitate and gather the experts, let them do the talking. Maybe you want to be the expert. So it's okay, is the bottom line, if you don't feel you're an expert in a particular topic, but you want to talk about it. So ideas, lots of different ways to brainstorm. Maybe it is something you do very well, your institution does very well. Or is it something that a question you keep hearing from others, your peers, your friends, your colleagues? It keeps popping up on WeChat or popping up on other discussion boards, and you want to find the answer. Is there something about where you come from, your institution, your curriculum, your students, that you think others in our community, our network, should understand better, should know? That's a great topic. Also, what keeps you up at night? What is that question, problem, challenge that you are constantly facing and thinking about? Because if you're thinking about it, maybe someone else is as well. So that's a great way to think of a topic as well. Michelle's going to tell you about some other inspirations that we hope will be helpful.
Thanks, Marsha. So keep in mind that this year's theme is family style. And I mean, that means anything and everything, right? So have a think about what that means to you. And maybe that is something about your team that you're working with or your colleagues. But these are some of the session inspirations from years past. And if you have an idea, but not quite sure who would want to collaborate or who's there to collaborate with, we do have a working session ideas on a Google Sheet. And if you're in the China region, you need to access it with a VPN, apologies, but that it is available for those who can access it. And it has just ideas, and I've looked through it already, and there's been quite several good ideas that's out there that other members are looking for collaboration on. So that's something that you can go to. There's, of course, a lot of resource on our website. You have to log into our website to access these past conference sessions and past webinars that you can have a look and see. But be creative. Sometimes if you're thinking about how to title your session, something that's catchy is usually quite fun, but the description is very important, because then when your members or your colleagues are looking to see which session to go to, they can only go to one per education block, right? So the description is important because they need to know, or they want to know if that's something that they want to spend 60 minutes on, right? So keep in mind that if you're doing a proposal, we're not asking for the full PowerPoint presentation, we're just asking for the title and detail of the script, the description. So be as provide as much information as you can, so the session review team committee can then have a good idea of what you might want to be proposing. As we are not going back to you for extra information, we really would like to have more information, so then when we're reviewing it, we understand what you're trying to propose during the education session. And also the chat proposal too, as much information as you can give us will be great. Thanks, Marsha. Next session.
Okay. So let's jump back in. So maybe now you have your idea, you know what you want to talk about, you know the question you want to answer, or the great initiative that you want to share. So as Michelle started talking about, you've got to then turn that into your proposal that you're going to submit to the conference committee. So really the proposal, and Michelle's going to walk through the actual form a little bit in a few minutes. The actual proposal is 3 to 4 sentences. Now they might be 3 to 4 long sentences, but it's a short. So if you've ever attended one of our conferences or even another one like CIS or NACAC, and you look at the program book and there's that little paragraph describing the session, that's basically what your proposal is writing the first version of that session description. So it's not long, and as Michelle said, you don't have to have your full presentation worked out and all of the details, but you've got to pack a lot into that 3 to 4 sentences. You've got to present the overall session. Questions like, what's the big idea? And think about these things when you are drafting those 3 to 4 sentences. What is the benefit to the members who attend your session? Why do you think this session is important for people to know about? What need is being met? What will people take away from it? Who might what you're talking about impact? Students, other professionals, institutions, things like that. Think about the format. Again, you don't need all the details, but yes, many of the education sessions are very traditional, kind of the panel presentation. That's great. That's absolutely fine. But think about other ways that might be more interesting or a better way for you to convey your information. You know, do you want an interactive element? Do you want people to be able to maybe have an opportunity to do some things in small groups or some kind of hands-on activity? So think about that, because sometimes that's good to include in the proposal. Again, not all the detail, just so people know there's going to be that interactive or discussion element. And then, as Michelle said, the title. And don't worry, you know, some people, not me, are really, really clever about their titles. So, but you do want it to tell people enough information, but also grab their attention. And sometimes that's where others can come in handy. If you have that colleague or friend who's a much better wordsmith with you, why not ask people for some help with that? I always do. So then some other things to think about. Again, expanding your idea into those 3 to 4 sentences. You know, sometimes it is good to think about the overall theme of the conference. You know, Michelle showed you those conference inspiration topics that were linked to the theme this year of family style, or the mission or purpose of the organization or event. Now for us, International ACAC, yes, everything kind of links to international admissions students, serving those students. So that's kind of a given, but maybe if it's a different type of conference, it's helpful to think about that. You know, again, the benefit, you know, people want to know, what am I going to gain from this session? What is it worth my 60 minutes to go to this session? What am I going to either be able to take away or learn or think about? The education sessions, right? 60 minutes. So it's a lot of time, or sometimes it doesn't feel like a lot of time. So think about how you want to use that time well, right? You go back to all those things we know about, you know, how long people can kind of listen passively versus needing to shake things up a bit. So, you know, be thoughtful about the format and how you see those 60 minutes being used. And then again, takeaways, follow up. Are there things that you're hoping that this session starts and maybe can continue on later, even informally, among those who attend? Very important, voices, and meaning voices in many ways. So yes, different people representing different regions, viewpoints, institutions, different perspectives. Even a core basic topic like using the Common App or UCAS can always have a new voice or new approach. So think about, for your education session, who's going to be the different speakers on that, and how can you, through those different speakers and who and what and where they represent, can you provide a good range of voices? Again, thinking about the breadth of experience and interests and expertise of the members who will be at the conference. And then again, think about different member groups. You know, yes, there are always the people that this is their first year working, their first conference, but then there are people who are in the middle of their career, maybe towards the end of their official professional career, but they still want to learn. So think about ways that you can take any topic, and could there be elements that appeal to these different members at their different stages? Now, of course, there may be some topics that are very much geared towards one professional experience group, and that's fine as well. But the more you can try to include different people from different places in their career or places in the world, all the better to provide a variety and a range of ideas to exchange. So then again, when you're putting together your 3 to 4 sentences when you're finalizing or looking for those people to join your education system. Remember, the proposal is high level. Some specifics can be worked out later. In a lot of cases, at least in my experience, you've not really had a deep discussion with the other presenters you've invited. Maybe all you've been able to do is just get them committed that they are willing to join, and you're going to work out the details later. That's okay. There's time pressure. This is, it's a busy time of year. People are traveling. So don't worry about all the specifics, as long as you kind of have those big ideas and broad ideas that at least can give a good overall shape to your session. There's always time for discussion with your fellow speakers once your session is selected, and you can update your session later if you are selected for a chat or for an education session. There will be a time when headquarters comes back to you to ask you to make sure, is there anything you want to update in your description? Have any of the speakers changed? So again, you can make those adjustments later if you need to. So finally, before I hand it back to Michelle, is just then, if you haven't thought of people you want to include, or you have some people, but you're thinking about who else you can include, again, going back to voices and range of experience and opinions. So different regions, different groups, different institutions, different perspectives, different examples. Again, where do you find these people? Where do you find your peers who might want to help you on this session? There is a Google Sheet on our website that Michelle already mentioned, where people are putting ideas, maybe looking for people to participate. So that's available. Use the networks, use International ACAC's Facebook, WeChat groups, use your regional networks, reach out to committees or people on the executive board and just say, hey, I have this idea. I'd really love to have someone from this region or this type of institution, and I just don't have my own personal contacts. Could you recommend anyone? People, we love to network and people love to be helpful. So definitely don't be shy, reach out to people, and be bold, send a message, send an email, Facebook message someone you don't know, but you've seen them speak before, or you've read something that they posted, or someone's recommended them. Again, people are super friendly. They want to be involved. They probably would be very thrilled and flattered that you've approached them. So be brave, and reach out to people. And again, the executive board, we would, we're always available if you're trying to network. And then finally, on the International ACAC website, in the membership directory, you can search by keywords. So not only regional keywords, but different subject expertise keywords. So you may get a lot of names, but you can narrow by region and other ways. So that might be a way to find some people that might be just the right fit for the session you're envisioning. So now I'm going to turn it back to Michelle to talk a little more nuts and bolts about the actual proposal form.
Thanks, Marsha. So just giving you a little bit of a sneak peek into the proposal, if you haven't looked into it yet. We did some screenshots here, so you'll have a look in the next few slides. But when it's actually in your conference email update number 2, where all this information is at, it says a password, but it actually is an invitation code that you need. So you'll need to create an email an account with your email address, and you create a password. And then the next step is to enter invitation code, which is Panthers 2023. And once you enter that in, it will take you to the proposal space where you would enter your information. The conference chats proposal is also similar, and it is the same format how you would get into the proposal space. Proposal space is an amazing website, platform that we've been using since 2019, and it's just very clear and very clean. Marsha, can you get the next slide, please? And this is what it actually looks like. Well, not in the entirety, but similar here. So you can see that you would enter a session title. Now, remember, the proposal is just a very quick snapshot of what you want to present at the session. So it's not your entirety of your session, but like I mentioned earlier, as much information as you can, so my review team can look and kind of see what type of session you're proposing. And we're really creating a conference experience for the members. So we want to include different variety of sessions. So simply your session title, so one person of your group. So there was a question earlier, how many? So no more than 5, a minimum of 3 panelists. We want to ensure that there's various voices in the session. And so if you have your title and then your session information, if you come up with a better title later on, and that's okay, but just something that you have in your works right now would be okay to put in. And of course, you can. We want to see what type of a session you're providing. Is it for beginner, intermediate, or experienced? And then the audience you're looking to present to. And then, of course, the regional focus is another question we ask of you. Next slide, please. And we also want to know if you presented before at a conference or at the Regional Institute. And this is just for information for us. It's not, we just want to know if you're a new presenter, perhaps that's something that we're looking to encourage new presenters, but not to say that if you presented before, you won't be chosen. Then we have lead presenters. So if it's yourself, and then additional presenters. I believe you probably have to put in the 3 at least, but if you want to add 2 more later, and if your sessions is chosen, you can do that later as well. If that's incorrect, Margaret, let me know, but I think that is something you can add later on. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're not doing breakout sessions because we have webinar.
Here's the first lesson of
platform.
Be flexible. Anticipate.
Oh, and one thing, and one thing I do want to say is we are going back to an all in-person conference this coming summer. So no more of a hybrid conference. And so we would need all your presenter panelists to be at the conference, unless you want to present a recorded something of a panelist, that's okay, but it won't be like a Zoom in or a live in format as it was in the previous year. So just keep in mind. And if you want to include a voice that maybe can't be at the conference, you have ways to do that. If it's, like I said, a recorded thing, but not, it'll be difficult to then do. We won't have the technology, the platform to have someone non-Zoom in, but come in that way. Okay.
I'm going to stop sharing so you don't have to stare at a slide. We'll come back to share some things at the end. But yes, being flexible. So so we are unable to do the breakouts. So our apologies. But we do want to still have time for questions and answers. And we do have a group of experienced volunteers who we're going to facilitate, but can also hopefully jump in as people have questions. So I'm just checking the chat to see if we've covered everything. But if you have a question, if you can raise your hand, we can unmute you, let you ask your question, or you can put it in the chat, or if you have an idea, you've got about 50 some people who could give you feedback. If there's some idea you are thinking about and you'd like to get some feedback or ideas, please feel free. So anyone have a question?
Marcia, there's a question in the Q&A, and Jim's asking, for the chats and the TED style talks, will there be time and space for Q&A and chats, or is it more of a one-way presentation? To put clearly, it's like a TED style talk, so there's no real Q&A after. It's about 11 minutes long, and you just go up and present. And someone asked a question if it can be one or two members. And I've never thought it could be two, but I don't see why not. It could be, it might be okay to have two members talking if it's a collaborative kind of TED Talk style. TED Talk's typically one person, but I'm pretty open to like anything really. So if it's like, if two members want to speak on one topic, that might be interesting. So, and it might be less intimidating if you're not comfortable doing it by yourself. And so, yeah, I would encourage you to put that in, that proposal in. I'm just going to make sure with Margaret if that's allowed for the chat proposal, and if not, we can maybe fix it on our end.
And also, with education sessions, it's what you control time-wise. It's always nice to leave some time, of course, for questions and answers. Sometimes the challenge is the 60 minutes goes by really quickly, just because sometimes you start a little late because people are moving from place to place. But, the education sessions you can control, the time and what happens when. But it is always, people do appreciate having Q&A at some point in those sessions. No other burning questions?
I'm going to allow, I'll actually ask Joyce to talk about something that she mentioned in the chat. Joyce, go ahead.
Okay, hi everybody. This is Joyce. I'm an IEC and I work out of Ghana. I wanted to comment on what happens when the proposal is submitted. Because I don't want to say it's not a competition, but sometimes more proposals are, put forth than the conference can take. So it means then that a committee will have to look at the whole thing about the conference, its goals, and which proposals fit. So if you do write a proposal and it doesn't get chosen, don't throw your hands up in the air like, gosh, it wasn't good enough. It wouldn't be about that at all. It's simply because there wasn't space for it. And the good news is, as progressive as we are as an association, if that happens, we look to see whether it's a good fit for a webinar. So you get to talk about your topic anyway during the year. So I thought I'd comment on that because I think people might be interested in what happens once they submit. It's not all proposals that go through. I think most of them do, but it's never lost because it can turn into a webinar or some other kind of, session that will benefit our members. Thank you.
Thanks, Joyce. And I can tell you that last year, I also submitted a proposal. Well, I didn't. I was part of a group that submitted a proposal and it was not chosen. So no hard feelings. It's okay. But yes, that happens. And of course, Marcia, being our VP for professional development, is always looking for webinars ideas throughout the year. And so that's something that I will share with her and her committee team, and to look and see what can be offered if it wasn't at the conference session. We have Melanie. I'm going to allow Melanie to speak. Oh, there you go. Hi, Melanie.
Hi, I hope you can hear me. I'm Melanie. I work out of Switzerland. And I just wanted to mention to perhaps the people who are thinking about doing this for the first time, sometimes we get a little bit of imposter syndrome. We might be thinking, well, why should I say something? I probably know less than other people. But oh, apologies, that's my school bell. Marsha, you'll recognize this one. But what I wanted to mention was that, you know, actually the different perspectives that everybody brings to the job are really interesting for others to hear from and to think about. So even if you're thinking about a session, wow, my first year was a nightmare, here's how I got over it. You know, I'm sure you'd have lots of people attend and be interested in what you have to say. So yeah, don't be shy.
I second that. I was new to the profession. My first conference, just to try, I put in a proposal and it got selected. I had no idea. But, you know, and again, I approached people who I had known maybe 2 weeks to be on it. And so, yeah, again, be bold, take a risk. Michelle, did you see someone else with their hand up? I don't have a.
Yes, I see. Yep, I'm going to put Manju. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Michelle. Hi, Marsha, and good morning and good evening and namaste from India to everyone. I was taking, you know, all what you all have shared. Last year, I was at the in the committee of session review, you know. So all those proposals, you know, as a committee, we have gone through. And it's not that, you know, only the experienced people who have actually had earlier, you know, presented, they will be chosen or their idea will be taken. It's mixed actually. We need mixed people. We need different voices. Ultimately, it is that how the entire, you know, members, all the members of International ACAC, how they will be benefited by that session. So that is the ultimate aim. And always the International ACAC look forward for new people to come on board and different voices to come. So that is encouraged. So one should not feel shy away to, you know, share the proposal and have different people to collaborate. It's that, yes, we need different people collaborating and then comes, you know, come out for, you know, share their experience or, you know, learn also. So it's all like, you know, when International ACAC conference is there, it's about, you know, share, care and learn. Unlearn and relearn also. So we all need to be there. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Manju. That's a really good point. And I'm going to also have Karen speak. Karen.
Thank you, Michelle and Marsha. Hi. I guess just one of the things, and just following up on Manju and Joyce as well, I've also been on previous sessions reading committees, but also attended a number of conferences. And it's always a great experience, and it's always wonderful to hear from both experienced and new members of International ACAC. But I think one of the things that I've noticed over the years, and it is becoming a little bit less, as a Canadian member, I think I sometimes in the past have felt that the conference tended to be a little bit US centric, and I don't mean this disrespectfully at all. I mean, that's perfectly valid and important, but I think it's very important when you're planning your session and planning your title and planning your conference description, that you, first of all, try to keep it as broad as possible because we have membership that spans the globe. But I think also very important that if you can't, and if it's not, and that's also, of course, perfectly valid, that that's indicated clearly in the title or in the description, because in past years, there have been times where I've seen something that I thought, hey, this is really great. And I've gone to the session, but it was very, very focused on one particular region and was not really so relevant to me and perhaps people from other countries. And so that made it a bit more difficult. You don't really want to walk out partway through a session when you're listening and people have put the time to put it together. So I think that's just important to keep in mind. We're coming at everything from our own perspective, absolutely. But if there's a way that we can broaden it up or have more voices, more international voices on the panel, I think that's, thank you, Agnes. I think that's really important because we'll all learn from that. And even if we're coming from the US and we see things in a particular light or way, or from Canada, everybody's experience is so helpful as well. And as you've pointed out, even if we're towards the end of our career, we're still learning and we can still update our processes. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Karen. It's very, very good points. Marsha, would you want to just share these slides again? Just
Yes,
because
let
there's a
me-
few.
Let me get
samples.
back there.
So as you know, one of our strategic goals is membership experience, members experience, and one of it is actually the website. So we're looking to we look at our website and reimagine what it could be. But I wanted to share kind of the session or chat timeline for everyone. So the deadline date this year is actually later than in the past years. So I believe the past year has been extended to this date. So we just made to this day as a deadline. February 15th is the deadline of. Margaret, correct me if is the chat session proposal also this date as well? I'm wondering if it's
Yes,
different.
that is correct.
Okay, thank you. And so our session review committee team will be very busy between February 15th to beginning of March to review the sessions, and we'll announce the sessions on March 15th, because the conference registration will open on March 16th, I believe, around that time frame. So if you're chosen to be on during a session this summer, you will have a day or so, 2 days access, depending, I guess, where you're in time zone, access to the registration for conference. And so from April to June, you have that time frame to really finesse your session, finesse your PowerPoint slide or Canva. This is a new one that InVisual's been using, and just be creative. And of course, you can go back and retweak your titles and things of that nature. And June 30th is the time we would need your presentation to be sent to International ACAC. There is, like I said, Proposal Space is a really good platform. And that's all kind of done on the back end with Margaret and Jessica at the helm of it, and they will let you know how to submit your presentation. And of course, in July, you present to your colleagues at the conference. Next slide. I think I did a couple of screenshots just to show members where the conference sessions downloads are. And it's under news and events, just under conference, and there's there it is, conference session downloads. As I did this, I felt like, when I do something for our students, right, you kind of do it quite clear, so then it's no mistake. And the next slide is just a couple of screenshots of last year's sessions that I actually went to. I enjoyed them, and I went to them online, of course, but this year will be in person. And I think someone asked if you're able to participate. Unfortunately, it's not a hybrid conference this year. It's just an in-person. And though we will keep all the sessions and PowerPoint slides, and if it's a recorded as an audio recorded session, we will put them on our websites for you to access it later on. So these are the two sessions last year that were presented. And as you can see, members from various areas, different sides of the desk even, and just talking about kind of what's important in college admissions and also students. Okay, I think that's the last of the slides, Marsha, right?
Yes, I think so. So we're finishing a little early, so I don't know. I'm going to stop sharing and go back to everyone. If there's any final thoughts, I do see in the participant list, I'm a little humbled because I see some names that I know are far more experienced panel presenters and speakers than I am. So thank you for being here. But also, if you have thoughts, final tips for people who maybe this is the first time or maybe even the second, please feel free to chime in before we sign off. And again, we can't say enough, please reach out to me or Michelle if you have questions, to headquarters. If we don't know the answer, we'd be happy to help you find some other people. We just encourage you to try. And then also, if I could put a little plug in for my committee. So as Michelle mentioned, the conference is not the only time to present, to be an expert. The Professional Development Committee puts together webinars throughout the year. We're always looking for new ideas. So if you have an idea, please reach out to me or anyone on my committee. Their names are on the website. And we'd be happy to see how that might fit in our ongoing webinar series. There are, if you would like to participate as a faculty member for the Pre-Conference Institute, the call for applications for faculty members. So the Pre-Conference Institute, if you're new to our organization, is the 2 days before the annual conference begins, and it's a by registration training opportunity for both people new to the profession as well as a mid-career track. And so the experts, the faculty, are other members. And so in the next conference proposal update that's going out in a week or two, there will be that application. So we would love to see some of you apply to be faculty. You can apply to be faculty and you can put in proposals. Why not? And then also, if you haven't seen the message, the opportunity to apply for committees or executive board nominations has been extended. So that's another way to share your expertise, your voice on a more ongoing basis. So please take a look at that as well. So just some reminders, different voices. Think of all parts of the world, all types of institutions. Put on your brainstorming caps, and we hope to see lots of exciting proposals from you. Michelle, any final thoughts?
Yeah, just a big thank you to you, Marcia, and your committee for spearheading this webinar, and of course our HQ who's behind the scenes right now. Thank you so much. This is, I believe this might be the first time we ran a session like this, which is super, and we hope to run it again next year in this time frame. Thank you everyone for joining us, and hopefully you found it helpful. And yes, like Marcia has mentioned, there's been several deadlines extension to the board and also VP's executive board applications. So please look at that. You still have a good month or so, less than a month almost, for the proposal and session chat. So please consider putting something together. We are looking to pick probably 40 to 45 sessions in total. So, it's not a lot. If we have 100, but I don't believe we'll have 100 proposals right now. It's looking healthy, but we would like to see more and so we can have a variety of sessions. And again, thank you for being here, and thanks
just
Marcia,
to interrupt.
so much.
I just want to flag one really great comment from David Zutatis, who's one of our past presidents and one of the sages of our organization, that also, think about maybe a series, maybe you propose a topic this year that can be built upon in future conferences or future webinars, or also go back and look at previous conferences. Was there a topic that was done in a previous conference that you think, I think we should keep talking about that, or I think we should do the next step in that topic. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So thank you, David. That's great advice, because it's, again, people are building upon their expertise and experience. So take advantage of that. now that Michelle has shown us where to find the past conference program information. That's another great
Yeah.
place. So thank
and
you
if-
all. Oh, go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, so I was just saying, if that is the plan to like do a kind of feature building of one of the first session, please put that into the description as well, so we know that during the session review. So thank you so much. Thanks, Marcia.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you. I put your thinking caps on, and we look forward to hearing from you very soon.
Yay! Thank
And
you.
thank
Have a
you,
good
HQ.
morning. Yes.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.